The many reasons for West Virginia's struggles in football since the Neal Brown era began in 2019 have been well documented and well talked about on this show. But there's one key problem that West Virginia football has faced that could be the main reason for their struggles that I have not talked about yet on this show. Well, today, that changes. So pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and we'll talk about it right after a word from our sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com or come in today to the home of friends and family pricing, only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you. What is up, college sports fans, Big 12 fans, and fellow members of Mountaineer Nation, and welcome into another edition of Couz's Corner. Pull that chair up and let me serve you up this shot of top shelf college football content. Today, we are focusing on West Virginia and one of the key issues I think they've had since Neal Brown got to Morgantown in 2019. On this show, you've heard me talk about the young offensive line that he had when he took over. You've heard me talk about the fact West Virginia was kind of late to the party with NIL. You've heard me talk about all the transfers West Virginia lost, which was in part due to the NIL issue. You've heard me talk about, the quarterback struggles. You've heard me talk about many, many things. The wide receivers drop passes. One of the biggest issues that has plagued West Virginia is something I have not talked about much on this show, and I don't think has been talked about enough overall about the Mountaineers, and that's the turnover margin. And I got this idea by a good friend of the show, Mr. Cole Manbeck. Cole Manbeck is a co-host of the Three Mall podcast with John Kurtz and Derek Young. They cover Kansas State Wildcats. Go check out their podcast if you want to learn more about K-State. Most of you know John Kurtz from his YouTube channel as well, but Cole's been on my show a couple of times. But yesterday on Twitter, Cole put out a very interesting tweet, and I want to share that tweet with you. And it gave me the idea for this video. On the right side of the page, you'll see Cole's tweet. It says, during the Chris Klieman era at K-State, 2019 through 2023, K-State football has thrown the fewest interceptions in the Big 12, had the least overall giveaways, and ranked second in both turnovers forced and turnover margin in the conference. See charts below. These numbers exclude the pandemic season. What really triggered the idea for this was when he said the Chris Klieman era at K-State, 2019 to 2023, because that coincides with Neal Brown's era at West Virginia. He was also hired by the Mountaineers in 2019. Ironically, Neal Brown also interviewed for the K-State job. They ultimately ended up picking Klieman. It's worked out pretty darn good for them. But nonetheless, I wanted to see where West Virginia stacked up on this list compared to K-State and the rest of the Big 12. When you look at turnovers lost, you'll see West Virginia is 8th in the league since 2019 at 57th. Again, this excludes the pandemic season. But they're 57th in turnovers lost. Not good. But there again, that goes to the offensive side of the ball, which we've talked about. You look at interceptions thrown, they're next to last at 39th. Again, goes back to some of the quarterback issues, which Neal Brown has talked about. Whether whether it be Austin Kendall, Jarrett Dagey, JT Daniels, they have thrown too many interceptions. That's all there is to it. Now, let's get to what I want to focus on, and that's the defensive side of the ball. Sorry, West Virginia's dead last in the conference with 38 turnovers forced since 2019. That's 38 turnovers forced during that time frame, excluding the COVID year. Not good, guys. Dead last in the league. Now, here's the really, really big issue right here. Turnover margin. West Virginia, minus 19 in turnover margin. Not only is that dead last in the conference in this time frame, it is not even close to the ninth place team, Iowa State, who's at minus 8, and Oklahoma State as well. More than double in the wrong direction, the turnover margin to the team who's next to last. Even if West Virginia was at a 0 turnover margin, even if they broke even in turnovers, think of the number of wins that would have led to for this team. This is a major, major issue. Now, Neal Brown has talked about it. He talked about it at one of his interviews during Big 12 Media Days a couple weeks ago. He said, we have got to force more turnovers on the defensive end. So he gets it. He knows this is an issue. And he thinks they've addressed it with the guys they brought in out of the portal. So let's talk about that. So what I decided to do was put together a spreadsheet comparing the defensive back transfers that came in 2022 versus the ones that came in 2023 that we've obviously yet to see play. So let's take a look at that for a second. Let's go up here and look first off at the 2022 season. They brought in Rashad Ajayi from Colorado State, Wesley McCormick from James Madison, Marcus Floyd from Murray State, which is an FCS school, and then Hershey McLaurin from Jones College, which is the JUCO level. I took the amount of interceptions these guys had at their previous stops because none of them had an interception at West Virginia, and then compared that to the number of interceptions the guys coming in have at their previous stops. But when you look at Rashad Ajayi, 1 interception during his time at Colorado State, none at West Virginia, so 1 interception over 5 years of experience. Wesley McCormick, 3 interceptions during his days at James Madison, so 3 total interceptions during his 5 years of playing experience. Marcus Floyd, 7 interceptions in 4 seasons of play. All 7 came during his 3 years at Murray State. A couple things about Marcus Floyd. Number one, Murray State's an FCS level team. So last year, not only did he have to adjust from going from FCS to Power 5, he also had to adjust to a position change. He went from cornerback, which is what he played at Murray State, over to safety at West Virginia. So I'm sure that extended his learning curve, made it even longer. Then you've got Hershey McLaurin, who transferred over from Jones College, which is a JUCO. He had 7 interceptions in just 15 games at Jones College. And remember, what's the historic rule of thumb about JUCO players? It typically takes them till they're 2 years to adjust. You normally see a huge jump from year 1 to year 2 with JUCO players. It's very likely, or very possible anyway, that we could see that jump with Hershey McLaurin in 2023. Now, the reason I have Rashad Ajayi and Wesley McCormick highlighted here in red font, both of those players have graduated from West Virginia. And as you'll see, when you look at all the players on this list, all 8 guys from both seasons, you'll see they had the lowest interception ratio of anybody, or at least 2 of the lowest of anybody on this list. So those guys really did not pan out well for West Virginia, in my opinion. They did not play as well as we needed them to when they were asked to step in last season in starting roles, and I think that hurt this team. Neal Brown seems to think the guys he's bringing in this year will do a much better job. So let's take a look at them. You've got Montre Miller, the cornerback from Kent State, coming in. He had 6 interceptions during his 5 seasons at Kent State. Now, one of those seasons includes a redshirt year, so it's not 5 full seasons. So 6 interceptions in 5, basically 4.5 seasons. Not bad. You've got Beanie Bishop, who's transferred from Minnesota, also previously played 3 seasons or 4 seasons, if you count his redshirt year, at Western Kentucky. He has 3 interceptions in his career. All of those came at Western Kentucky. Keyshawn Cobb, the safety out of Buffalo, also played a couple years at the JUCO level, or 3 years to be exact, at the JUCO level. 3 interceptions in his career. And then Anthony Wilson, the highly sought after Georgia Southern safety that committed to West Virginia or has signed with West Virginia, has 2 interceptions in his 3 years played at Georgia Southern. Now, again, what I want to bring out here, you've got Keyshawn Cobb, who was a JUCO player. Typically takes 2 years for these guys to really adjust to the FBS level. Well, guess what? Year 2 of his FBS career will be spent at West Virginia. Can he make that adjustment after moving up to the Power 5? We will see, but I think he can. Everything I'm hearing out of spring camp, out of spring ball, is that he's a ball hawk and can go up and get the football with the best of them. Now, and Anthony Wilson is actually known better as a tackler than he is as a cover guy, but obviously here showing he can intercept passes with 2 in 3 seasons. So when you look at the total number of interceptions, the 4 that were brought in a year ago had 18 interceptions and 17 total seasons of play, whereas the guys we're bringing in this year have only 14 and 17 seasons of play. Now, you might think, well, Couz, how's that an improvement? But I think you need to look at the whole picture here. When you look at all 8 of these guys, 6 of them will be on the roster this year. 2 of them, like I mentioned, have graduated, Rashad Ajayi and Wesley McCormick. 2 of the lower-rated ones on the list as far as interceptions. West Virginia will have 28 interceptions coming back in 2023 in a total of 24 seasons played by all these DBs. That's basically a little over 1 interception per season for each player. That's pretty darn good. If all of these guys can intercept at least 1 pass, that's 6 interceptions right there. That doesn't count Jacoby Spells, Andrew Wilson-Lant, Malachi Ruffin, who showed a lot of improvement. We all remember Jacoby Spells had the pick six to seal the Virginia Tech game last year. He has shown flashes that he's able to do that. You've got guys like Aubrey Burks back there. This team, in my opinion, is well more built, I should say, to go get the football, to force turnovers than the team we had last year. I really like the guys we brought in Montre Miller, Benny Bishop, Keyshawn Cobb, and Anthony Wilson more than I do the guys we brought in last year, especially when you look at a Jaden McCormick. So I'm really excited about this team we got because of the experience we're going to have returning. All the experience that Floyd got last season, all the experience that McLaurin got last season is going to pay dividends this year, in my opinion. Plus, look at the experience we're bringing in. Two guys who've already have 5 years of college ball under their belt, and two more guys who have 3 and 4 years of college ball under their belt, who have proven they can play at the college level and who have proven they can go get the football when it's thrown to their guy. With that being said, Couz's Corner family, I want to hear in the comment section, what do you think about this year's defensive secondary compared to the guys we brought in last year? And do you think we will see much better performance out of these new guys than what we saw out of like Rashad Ajayi, Wesley McCormick? And do you expect Marcus Floyd and Hershey McLaurin and these other guys to make big jumps from 2022 to 2023? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Also, guys, if you want to support the channel here, I ask that you please do so. There are several ways you can. You can join my channel, become a member, take advantage of the perks that I have to offer there. You can hit the one-time donation button, which is the heart thanks button right below. It's called the thanks button. Make a one-time donation to the channel. You can check out my merch store, get you a shirt, a ball cap, a hoodie, a tank top, all of that. All of that goes a long way in helping the channel grow. Also, you can help me in 4 ways, and it's all free. Like by hitting the thumbs up button. Share it out with your family and friends. Drop that comment below that I mentioned and subscribe to the channel. All of that helps that YouTube algorithm. All of it helps my channel and my videos get out to more people and will help me grow here and get more eyeballs on us here at Couz's Corner and help us grow organically. And don't forget, guys, go check out our friends over at Dutch Miller Automotive. They have just opened a new store in Beckley, West Virginia. So if you're in the southern part of the state or even in the central part of the state, go check out the guys at Dutch Miller Auto and their new location in Beckley. With that being said, guys, I really appreciate you tuning into this episode. And until the next one, you country roads.